Well, to begin today, we're going to start with the question, why do King James only advocates believe that the King James Version is superior to all the other translations? Listen. Sam and also Joe, let's start, Joe, with you. You say that the 1611 King James Bible is superior to all the translations. And the fact is that these guys have also, in their translations, really, they've got an occultic bent. They've gone away from orthodoxy. They're corrupting the church. We need some proof of that. But tell us, first of all, why do you believe the King James is superior? We were on that a little bit last week. Go ahead.
Three reasons, John. I believe, first, the manuscripts. Second, I believe the translators themselves. And third, the technique. I believe the manuscripts, something better than 90%, some say as high as 99% of all the manuscripts that are available, 5,000 plus, document and support the King James Version of the Scripture. Number two, the translators. When you do a study of the translators who worked for the 1611, they were impeccable scholars. We have one man, for instance, who could read Hebrew at 4 years of age and could write in Hebrew at 5 years of age. You have one man in particular who could speak fluently, I think it was 6 or 8 languages. You had another gentleman who had read the early church fathers from the very early autographs and all of their quotes where they quoted the different texts in Scripture. And all of these support beautifully the King James Version of 1611. So when you take the manuscripts, you take the translators, and you take the technique, which is they use literal equivalents rather than dynamic equivalents. Again, you had literal translation, word for word, verb for verb, noun for noun. You stayed with the text. Those three reasons give us support, beautiful and powerful, for the 1611 King James.
Okay, but on the modern translations, a couple of my buddies that were my professors, like Dr. Gleason Archer, I think he knows 27 languages. Okay? I remember he used to sit in the teachers' meetings and take notes in Hittite. And the fact is that he's a godly man, and he's got a wealth of information in terms of his background. He's got PhDs from Harvard. I mean, he's one of the known experts in the world. And he was on one of the newer translations. Now, let's say that he worked with Art over there, and Art uses the same Greek manuscripts that you did. And Gleason Archer, with that wealth of background, works on the same thing that Erasmus and some of the others worked on. And actually, we've got documents that go back closer to the time of the apostles. Are you saying that Gleason Archer and Art and Ken and Don over here, with all of their degrees and all of their information, can't do as good a job as the guys like Erasmus?
I say they didn't do as good of a job. I'm not going to say they can't. I'm not going to impugn any of their characters. I'm just going to say they didn't do as good of a job because they did not, they moved, as we all know, to the Alexandrian text, the Vaticanus, the Sinaiticus. We know that much, in fact, the NIV, making of a contemporary translation, says that those were two of their main texts for their translation. So that's very clear. I don't think there's any question, in my mind at least, that the Alexandrian text was full of confusion. It did have individuals, Origen, Clement, others, who quoted that text, who transcribed that text, and did so wrongly because of their view of Christ.
But James over here, with the New King James, didn't do that. He says he based his New King James more accurately than the 1611 guys did. If you really want the Textus Receptus, he's got it.
Well, they've changed some things that I certainly disagree with.
Speak to that, Art. Speak to that. Is that true?
We did use the Textus Receptus, but there are 30 Textus Recepti, or however you say it.
Say that again. How many of them are?
The Textus Receptus is the printed text from the Reformation period. It's not a manuscript. You can't just point to one. This is the Textus Receptus. Right. We used the same thing because we were updating the King James.